Fly Morton, I'm high important, yacht so exhausted. Trying to catch up to Bob Morton, I'm so exalted above bedrock. Moon hopper by NASA. Look at the wrist of my blaster.
Well, I use this according to my Palma biaxial range, ROM, and also flexation. I'm going to be using the stators as pulleys. I had to sand these things down and apply the polyester strips and Dyneema thread strips with fiberglass and epoxy resin spray hardener. And I'm going to be using a guider. I have it to biaxial even though the armature is fixed still. So I have right here I have right here a Emax brushless motor, the permanent magnet, and I have it fixed within a stator so that I can apply the winding coil here. Probably use lower than probably use upper, like 30, probably 30, or so I'm going to use 24 coil around the stator, and it's going to synchronize the permanent magnets that's in the center. It's not touching against the surfaces, and the armature is going to turn alongside with the inductive current that is going through the DC wire straight to the coil to synchronize it to cause the AC charge for the armature winding energy. So it's going to increase the winding energy along the side. Here I'm going to put a slide, which is a rectangular open clearance bracket, a rectangular slide bracket. It's going to allow the wheel blower to move along the side and shift along the side when I open the hand and palm. So therefore, the wheel blower and the propeller is going to be localizing it. It's going to be very short, so I'm going to make it very short of the wheel blower and the propeller that I'm going to add to this system. I am going to add a tubicle, and I'm going to add an additional stack on top so that alongside it turns and has a larger gauge. Now, a stack. Now, allowing the armature to turn to where it's not going to be rubbing against it. This is when I want to grasp and grip. So I'm also going to be using another cut and making another excision cut to here and applying a bearing so that the pinky is allowed to touch the thumb. So having only a limited amount of distance for these parts, but as far as the pinky, I do not have it, leaving a little bit of restriction and limitations to that, and I don't want any limitations. So I'm going back to the system and continue to work on the changes of that, and I'm going to be cutting it and adding the ball bearing to allow it, the rod bearing to allow it to tilt, and the armature on the side, alongside that stator, is going to be used for the high-speed gear motor. The high-speed gears, so I'm going to be using a worm to drive it, and a gear worm to drive the armature to increase the velocity rotation. I'm going to be adding air to the shaft area, so I'm going to be closing it up too, and local at the bottom. However, the stator winding coil right here, I got to sand these things down around the stator, the metalloid around the stator, so I get rid of the residue, and add the new winding coil there, and the permanent magnets on top, so they can be used for pulleys for pulling the fingers. Now, both sides, they will pull on both sides to pull the fingers down to arch. I have a mechanical, mechatronic system to allow it to pull and to grip and to grasp each individually for these pulleys like servos, and for the thumb as well. Now, in addition to the rotary, the guide for the armature, to whereas, like I said, the rectangular opening clearance slide will slide alongside the base. I'm going to add a ball bearing to alongside the base to allow it to slide over and under the bracket, under the rectangular, small miniature rectangular open clearance bracket, to allow it to guide the blower wheel. And that's really the following, and then following castings to alongside for the back, until I got my physical metric system articulation, physical joint motion and movements exactly as like the likenesses of the exterior armor to function alongside it.
This could be good for me. Lately I was feeling like I need a purpose.